Hey guys, Mr. Lloyd here, going to work with you on today, Monday, April 27th. This will be video one, and we'll go through the first little bit here, first couple pages here. So it says day one of second week, part three. And so most of this page, as you read your way down here, most of this is just instructions. This is kind of, think of these as the kinds of things I would say to you guys if we were in the classroom. I'll come back to this page to show you this challenge problem in just a moment, but I'm going to skip over to the next page to show you the actual work that we're being completed today. And the work here, just so you know, it says page 305 and 306. But today's work is really about using that knowledge about unit conversions and then using unit conversion skills to find area of different types of rectangles. And so let's take a look at one of these problems and get our heads around it. So problem one, the title of the page is 7-12 class activity, and the subheading is, the heading, is find area when units are different. And so for the first problem, we want to remember the unit conversion for yards to feet. So yards and feet, of course, we know this, 1 yard equals 3 feet. And if you ever forget these unit conversions, you can just do a quick little Google search, and you can find out, you can do a quick little type in Google, how many yards are in 1 feet, how many kilometers, how many meters are in 1 kilometer, how many inches in a foot, how many ounces in a pound, all kinds of different measurement. And you can quickly reference those if you forget, since we don't have our books or anything with us right now. Using the internet tool can be really helpful. What we're trying to do here, though, is if you notice, the paper provides us with some measurements. It gives us a length of 5 yards and a height of 12 feet. And the first thing my brain notices is that these units, feet and yards, are different. And so we want to convert them first. So using my unit rate here of 1 yard for 3 feet, I'm going to quickly convert my 5 yards into 15 feet. So now I have 15 feet by 12 feet. Now I can find the area really quickly. Area of 15 times 12 equals 180. And that is 180 feet squared. And that is one method. And what I just showed you is what Kelsey did here on your paper. So you can follow Kelsey's thinking as well. It's essentially the exact same process. Let me take you over here to the left side and show you how Riley calculated this. So Riley took the same unit rate of 1 yard per equals 3 feet, except she did the inverse. So she found the unit rate for 1 foot, and she wrote it like this: 1/3 of a yard is equivalent to 1 foot, and that's the unit rate right here that's written. She multiplies the measurement 12 feet, so now she's going to convert this 12 feet measurement into yards. And so she multiplies here, feet and feet cancel out, so now we have 12 times 1/3. 12 times 1/3 is 4, and the unit that's left over after all the canceling, the unit that's left over is yards. So 4 yards squared. 4 yards. That is just the measurement for the height, and then we have to multiply 4 yards by 5 yards to get 20 yards squared. Okay, so pretty straightforward. 2 different methods: left side Riley, right side Kelsey. The difference here is just the unit of measurement they went with. Otherwise, the problem is the same. We're still finding area for a rectangle. So our measurements, so our formula is going to be the same, and our process for finding it is going to be the same. The explanation about how the diagram to the right shows. So here's our diagram to the right. As you can see, we've got measurements out 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot. They did a nice handy thing. They tell us, hey, look, one long length from top to bottom, or the entire height of this square, is 1 yard. And similarly, the length of this square is 1 yard. And so what they're asking us to explain is how we find 1 yard squared equals 9 feet squared. How can these two things be equal? They are equal, and we have to kind of go through and prove it. So 1 yard equals 3 feet. These are just some things I know. So if I square both of them, in other words, if I multiply 1 yard by itself, as I've done right here, I've got 1 yard times 1 yard. So 1 times 1, what I do here is I multiply my numbers. 1 times 1 is 1. And then yard times yard is yard to the second power, which is yard squared. And that's 1 yard squared. I do the same thing with the measurement of 3 feet. 3 feet times 3 feet. I multiply the numbers together. 3 times 3, 9. Multiply the units together. Feet times feet, feet squared, or feet to the second power. So here I've just shown that 1 yard squared is the same thing as 9 feet squared. Here I'm just using what I just did up top to rewrite these unit rates. So here I'm writing the unit rate in the number of feet squared per yard squared. So this is how I would read this: 9 feet squared per 1 yard squared. And then over here it's 1/9 of a yard squared per foot squared. So I'm reading the fraction symbol as the word per. 1/9 of a yard squared per 1 foot squared. And that will help us here decide which of these two unit rates to use to solve this final problem on this page. The right one we want to use is the one where we want ultimately our unit to be in feet squared. So we want to select the unit rate with feet squared in the numerator up top, because we're going to cancel out as we work our way through this. We're going to cancel out yards. So here we just are going to do a quick little conversion. We're going to convert 20 yards squared to some number of feet squared. Down here is where I show my work. So the way we set this problem up, we write 20 yards squared times 9 feet squared per yard squared. It's a lot of funky language, but don't get too worried. We just remember cancel out yard squared divided by yard squared. Cancel one another out so you can slash them. And then we're left with 20 times 9 feet squared equals something. So we multiply our numbers together. 20 times 9, 180. And feet squared doesn't have to multiply by any other unit. It's by itself, and it's 180 feet squared. And so I just rewrite my answer on the line provided. Okay, that's all the time I'm going to have for this video. I'll post the next video for the next page in just a moment. Thank you for watching. Remember to please ask questions. You can contact me through our Zoom meetings, through text, email, phone call. However we need to get you the help, just let me know. All right, I'll see you guys later.